have somebody on today all the way from Calgary. It's Tristan, and he is going to give us all the updates on what's been happening out there.
The city is so full of opportunity, whether you're a developer looking to do a BRRRR, a flip, do a short-term rental, buy and hold, pre-construction. There's so many opportunities for you. There's no land transfer tax here, and there's no rent control.
Yeah, those two points right there should have tons of investors calling. No rent control, no land transfer tax.
We haven't seen the same degree of pullback in the housing sales like other parts of Canada. That's big thanks to persistently strong demand for our higher density product as well. So townhomes and condos. Our city's not immune to the impact that inflation and higher rates are having, but strong employment growth, positive migration, and a stronger commodity market are helping offset that market. We went from 1,000 net migration to 34,000, which is an increase of over 3,000%.
Holy smokes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I am Danni Migueis. I'm head coach, realtor, and investor with Rebel Realty Barrie. And I'm so excited. We have somebody on today all the way from Calgary. It's Tristan, and he is going to give us all the updates on what's been happening out there. How are you today?
Thanks for introducing me. Yeah, good. How are you doing?
I am good. How's the weather there?
Awesome. Well, it's warmer. It went through a cold snap, but we have things called Chinooks here, so it warms up pretty quick from time to time. But overall, not bad. We can handle it out here. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
We are looking forward to hearing all about the market and what's been happening there in Calgary.
Yeah, it's been different. I get a lot of calls from clients out in Ontario, out in BC, and bigger markets, and of course, Calgary operates a little bit differently historically, and especially right now to some of the markets that you guys are more familiar with. We've been trending kind of in an opposite direction, which is interesting. But when we get into our statistics, we'll kind of show you what's been going on and how the market in Calgary has been supported the past year or two.
Awesome. We are looking forward to seeing that presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just how are things going in Ontario for real estate and everything?
You know what? It's good. It's been interesting. So I've done a few different interviews over the last few weeks, and it's amazing to see the different pockets and different areas of how we're trending differently. But it's all the same province, right? So there's some areas that inventory is really low. In my personal market out here, inventory is high, but our sales are low.
Okay.
So it's kind of it is what it is. It's happening.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit, it's interesting to see because we have a lot of migration from your area, people either moving their money out here or themselves personally for a lower cost of living. And so the prairie provinces, us in Saskatchewan, have seen similar trajectories of growth and migration of people coming over. So yeah, let's jump into the stats and discuss what's been going on.
Perfect.
So as you can see here, we got a bit of breakdown just of total residential price and all the subcategories of that, just so you can see kind of the trends of what has been going on the past year. To give you a bit of a recap, this is October 2022 statistics. We have yet to get the statistics for November, although I looked at them this morning. They're relatively unchanged to what we're looking at here today. So we're on a pretty consistent track record going into winter here. And we actually are on pace for a record year in 2022 for the volume of sales. Right now, we're sitting at just over, I believe this month, we're seeing about 28,000 sales in Calgary, which is on pace to set the record. So by the end of December here. So yeah, things have been hot. And a big part of that is because of, again, the interest that we've had from other provinces coming to Calgary for a lot of different reasons, but primarily for investment or relocation. So that being said, we haven't seen the same degree of pullback in the housing sales like other parts of Canada. And that's big thanks to persistently strong demand for our higher density product as well. So townhomes and condos. Our city's not immune to the impact that inflation and higher rates are having, but strong employment growth, positive migration, and a stronger commodity market are helping offset that market. So we are experiencing still a seller's market here in Calgary, with total inventory sitting at the around 2 months. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's across the board as well. So that's something we haven't really seen historically. Like, as you can see here, months of supply is sitting at 2.09. That's down about 6% since this time last year. But if we compare that to pre-pandemic levels, that number would probably be around 4 or 5 months. That's what we saw until, again, this strong growth we've had the last couple of years. And much of that inventory, again, that's moving is kind of in the sub 500,000 category. So the upper ends of homes, and it's funny, upper ends of homes is, upwards of 500,000, whereas you can't even get a home under 500,000 in lots of different parts of Ontario.
Yes.
But under 500,000 has been driving that charge. Because with interest rates, again, it's been affecting you guys a little bit differently as well, but people fall down the order. So if you were going for a detached home, if interest rates were 2%, now you may be looking at a semi-detached or a row home to keep up with the same mortgage payment. So that's, again, why you've had stronger growth in row homes and even semi-detached at certain times of the year, and condos as well, because things have been really trending upwards with interest rates, of course.
Yep.
So again, very, very different markets, but we're still about 10% higher across the board than we were this time last year, and only 4% lower across the board than we saw in the peak of the market in May of this year. So
that's great.
Yeah. So we haven't really fallen off a cliff like a lot of people prospected that we were going to. When we first saw interest rates climbing, that was, the automatic thought was things are going to really fall off as far as demand goes. And I know that's happened in a lot of different areas, but because of the out-of-province migration and interest in Alberta and Calgary, that hasn't fallen off quite yet. And I feel like that was again, the biggest fear was that you saw these articles that were talking about the interest rates causing the market to drop 20-25%, housing prices to collapse all across the board. And our fear was that a lot of sellers were going to take that and, we're going to have a mass exodus of new listings because people wanted to cash in on a high market while they still could. But that being said, that never happened. So what we're starting to think is that, okay, these sellers that were thinking about pushing up their plans to selling now, also have to buy something. And so they're looking at the market and thinking, okay, wow, I have a 2% mortgage rate right now. If I buy something, I'm going to be paying hundreds of dollars more in interest. So I think that played a huge part in stopping that whole increase of new listings, and which is why we've remained relatively balanced through this month and through the last few months.
Awesome.
And if we get into actual year-over-year data, and I want to kind of key in on apartments because I've been talking about this for quite some time in Calgary specifically, and specifically city center, because since 2015 was our peak of our market for condos in Calgary. So that's kind of, that was always the precedent of what things could be. And for a lot of years after that, things were kind of depressed in Calgary for quite some time, until, of course, midway through 2020 when things really started blowing up again. And most other sectors, like we look at row homes, semi-detached, and detached homes, they've all superseded the 2015 levels. The only market that hasn't come close to that yet is condos in the inner city, so primarily downtown. And I know we've talked about this on previous podcasts with you guys, but I'll say it again because it is important. We're still about 10% lower than 2015 levels when it comes to city center condos. And that market is continuing to rise this year. We've seen very stale growth for many years there, but the inventory is low enough now that it's setting a precedent for growth here in the next year. So I do believe that that's a market to watch because if you look at the relative to everything else, it still is at a all-time low for historical trends. So, and we are seeing that inventory starting to fall off, which is great because, again, I think a lot of the job attraction that's going on in Calgary right now, a lot of tech companies are moving in.
Yeah.
There's a big push for more housing downtown. So we are seeing that market starting to finally take off a bit.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been about time. We've been watching it for for quite some time. It's amazing, actually. So condos in the inner city, we used to be sitting at about 8 or 9 months of inventory.
Wow.
And that was only about a year ago. And now we're sitting at about 2.5. So things have really turned around.
Yeah, that's changed a lot.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to watch. And everyone who's kind of hopping on that train, it seems, is really quite happy about it, because there's lots of different options with the condos right now. There's so much availability still, but that's getting tighter as days go on. And we'll get into a couple live deals a little bit later. I just want to show you guys some available options in downtown, and as well as a couple different burrs that we're working on. So,
okay.
All right. As far as the quadrants of the city, Calgary is split up into 4 quadrants, and then in a total 8 sub-quadrants. So we got the east side, west, north, south. We've seen the biggest growth in the suburbs. So a lot of the calls I get from clients out east is looking at pre-construction. If pre-construction's what you're looking for, as far as like you want a turnkey option, maybe something that appreciates, something that you can assign down the road, which isn't quite as common. Assigning contracts is not quite the same in Alberta as it is in Ontario.
Okay.
However, the north side here and the deep southeast is really exploding the last couple of years with new growth and new communities. What they're doing actually is they're making master planned communities, little small cities. So everything is virtually within a 10-minute, 10 minutes of where you live. So instead of driving across town, you kind of have your own little areas that you don't really need to travel to the other side of Calgary for.
That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Especially for the value of homes, right?
Absolutely. And it's great for like young families, and they'll have their schools there, their recreational centers, everything's kind of contained. So it makes things a lot easier. East side of Calgary, much lower price points historically, primarily due to crime rates as well. But there's some great investments to be had in here, again, because the cash flows on investment, on rents, are actually not much lower than lots of other areas of Calgary.
Okay.
Property values are much lower. So the potential growth as far as capital appreciation goes, a little bit lower in this area, but cash flow opportunities still do hold strong in the east side.
Is that an area that you would suggest to do like the burr, like you were talking about? Is that a good area for that strategy? Yeah.
It is, yeah. So again, for getting refinancing in the east side is a little bit tougher, but finding properties that you can add value to as far as extra suites and bringing cash flow to the property is not as hard. Especially working with a lower price point. If you're an investor who has a limited amount of capital, not limited, but just wants to spend something, under $400,000 to get into a burr, you still can in the east side.
Okay.
Northwest and down here in the southwest are some of the best burr areas as far as getting refinancing, and the products that you see. The sky's the limit. You can really go all out with something in that area, but you're looking at getting into burrs around the $550,000 to $600,000 to start with. So a little bit higher price point for people.
Yeah.
West side here is more of an affluent side of town as well, so we see a little bit higher price points in there, and typically a little lower sales levels as well. But this is kind of a spectrum of what you see in Calgary. Kind of gives you a just idea of what's going on there.
Yeah, it was a great diagram.
And then we got just going into the subcategories again, as far as each category of home and then each of the subsets that we're in. So if you look at here, from month over month change from last month to this, we're incredibly flat. We got minus 0.6% there, basically dead even here in apartments. Semi-detached homes are within 0.5%, and then row homes are down 0.3%. So we really aren't seeing much fluctuation at all.
No.
We're not seeing much growth or much subtraction in the market. It's really been quite steady the last couple months, with the exception of, I would say, inner city condos, which are continuing to rise. The rest of the market is staying pretty much the same throughout the second half of the year here.
Yeah, so very balanced.
Incredibly balanced, yes. And if you price things well enough, again, you still will get bidding wars, but that has tapered off quite a bit as the year goes on. In the detached home sector as well, like the starter homes around, ones that were 400,000 are now kind of up around the 550, 600,000, because last spring and the one before, things really accelerated. So that market was quite inflated. So we have seen a bit of a pullback in that market, but nothing nothing to the extent that people, first thought when this is all happening. It's been incredibly stable. And I do believe that if we do continue to experience the migration that we are, not necessarily at the same high levels, because I don't necessarily believe that's sustainable.
Yeah.
But Alberta and Calgary is a great place to live. And I think people are really realizing that, especially with the ability to maybe transition their work to home. A lot of my clients who are relocating, they were able to either acquire a job here because of the strong job market, or they were able to work remotely and get permission to move out of province. So that's a great part. And then for investors, I mean, the city is so full of opportunity, whether you're a developer looking to do a BRRRR, a flip, do a short-term rental, buy and hold, pre-construction. There's so many opportunities for you. There's no land transfer tax here, and there's no rent control. So that's been the first questions that I get is, what's your land transfer tax and what kind of rent controls do you have? Well, 30 days notice to raise rents. So if you are looking to have autonomy as a landlord, Saskatchewan and Alberta are great places. I'm in Calgary myself, but we do have partners all over the prairie provinces that can help you out. And we can talk, further about what relocating your money or yourself personally to Calgary looks like.
Yeah, those two points right there should have tons of investors calling your number. No rent control, no land transfer tax. Like that can withhold people back, right?
It's throwing money away, right? And it just causes the fear, because you hear stories of people squatting in your property, and you just think, wow, I just can't imagine going through that nightmare. I mean, obviously you want to be fair as a landlord, but you also have to have, be reasonable with what you can actually get for your property. Rents in Calgary have gone up. We just crossed the 30% mark for the increase in rental rates this year.
Wow.
The Canadian average is 13% increase. Calgary's 30%. So you have $1,000 apartment a one-bedroom apartment going for $1,000 at the start of the year. Now it's $1,300, and you'll get a lineup of potential tenants. Like all my clients are just shocked at how many people line up and how many applications they get on their properties. It's pretty insane.
That is awesome.
So that being said, I just wanted to quickly pop over to show you guys the numbers of migration. It's one thing to say it, another thing to show it. This is the Alberta website. It kind of breaks you down, again, the migration numbers across all the provinces and territories. Alberta, in quarter two, 2021, 2022, so 1 year difference, we went from 1,000 net migration to 34,000, which is an increase of over 3,000%.
Holy smokes.
This number is, if you took quarter three to quarter three, a little bit different, because we really started seeing the spike in quarter three of last year with the migration. But then again, so if we look at quarter one to quarter two, kind of more of a broad spectrum, we're still up 1,000% of migration. And Saskatchewan has us topped out by a little bit as well. But when you compare it to all the other provinces, it's very, very different.
Yes.
It's been interesting to watch.
Those are interesting numbers.
Yeah. Well, Danni, do you mind if I jump into a couple live deals that we're working on right now?
Those are my favorite parts of these episodes. So let's see it.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. Okay, so we're talking about the northwest quadrant of Calgary a little bit earlier on that map. This is an area called Varsity. Now, it is really close to the University of Calgary and close to transit as well. When I say transit, I do mean the C train that runs up and down Calgary. There's different arms of that, of course, but Varsity is a neighborhood that does straddle that. So again, you have really high rental demand in this community, and there's a lot of amenities there. So prices are always strong and demand is always very high for rents. This is a bungalow property on a corner lot. It's a 50-foot wide lot by about 110 depth. It is RC1 zoned, which means it's only meant for one dwelling. With Calgary, though, on an RC1 property, if you make an application to the city to rezone or to get a basement suite legalized, more than likely you're going to get a yes. There's very little red tape right now going on with building permits and rezoning. So if you're looking to upzone a property to do fourplex on a property, or to upzone in any like very small density apartment building, you are able to do that more than likely. Most of my investors have had success in doing that right now because the city is encouraging densification. So this property we acquired for $555. The upstairs is actually not too bad. We're going to do some demolition work as far as some of the interior walls, because this wall here is separating the kitchen, and of course we want to open that up. But you have nice vaulted ceilings, great big windows at the front.
There's lots of potential.
Yeah, and then here's your kitchen separating from the living room from this wall here. So we're going to demolish that, redo the countertops, do some kitchen renovations, but we're going to kind of limit things to about $15,000 on the upper floor. It really doesn't need much. And then we go to the basement soon here. Here's the master bedroom. So you got a half bath here. We're going to bust into this closet here and add another shower. So we have a full bathroom and master. A lot of these older 50s and 60s properties only came with one bathroom on the main floor, which to today's modern buyer, the best way to get eyes on your property is to have an ensuite as well. So if you have the square footage to do so, which a lot of these properties don't because they're a little bit cramped, this one's 1,200 square feet, so you have a bit more space, which allows us to do this. That's going to be huge in your burning this property, bringing it to rental, or even doing a flip. Basement here is pretty tumultuous. It's
I love the separate entrance already.
Oh yeah, separate entrance. We're going to wall this off, no problem. And we're going to legalize the basement. So you need a separate heat source to legalize. And you need to do some drywalling on the ceiling and fireproof the furnace room, but it's not too hard. It's going to cost us about $90,000 in the basement total. And we're going to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom basement suite, which we're going to use for an Airbnb actually. Oh,
nice. Great idea.
Yeah. So generally a basement suite like this, well, a modernized one, a 2-bedroom in this area would go around $1,500 a month. The main floor around $2,500 a month. So this property itself could bring in around $3,750, $4,000 a month after the BRRRR. But the basement suite itself with Airbnb statistics and our company who manages Airbnbs, we've shown that we can generate about $3,000 a month from this basement. So
amazing. And how are you guys out there with Airbnbs? Because in certain areas of Ontario, we're getting pushback now from the towns with Airbnbs. So how is it out there for you guys?
Yeah, so Calgary, we have a tourism levy that they imposed on us a couple of years ago, but there is a business license you need to register for on the City of Calgary website. It's pretty straightforward. There's guidelines, of course, that you have to follow, but the city does encourage it. They encourage doing it the right way. With condo boards, it's a little bit different. So if you're buying into a townhouse or apartment-style condo, we have to review the bylaws and see what the individual condos rules are, because that can run you into some trouble. There are a select few condos in downtown Calgary that allow for Airbnbs. Now they allow for it within the confines of following the rules, of course. So you have to send an application in. Our company takes care of all that for you. So we actually help you with acquiring the property, helping you set up the Airbnb, furnish it, and manage it. So we kind of do a full turnkey investment solutions. And same thing with doing flips and BRRRRs. We have a team of contractors and subtrades that we work with to be able to do a property like this from a distance, so that you have the confidence that you have feet on the ground that you trust.
Yeah, that's great.
This property here, we're going to be refinancing it likely in the range of $750,000, $800,000 after putting about $100,000 into it. So it's a pretty good property. You don't find a lot like this. It's tougher and tougher to come across as the years go on, but they still are available. This was actually acquired on the market. It was on the market for a long time, but not a lot of people saw the potential in it. So we went with a few contractors, figured out a game plan, and we got that one locked up for our client there.
Awesome.
And since I have you here, I'll show you one of our Airbnb properties that we just got as well.
Yes.
For anyone interested in condos, here is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath that we sold for just under $300,000. Downtown Calgary. It's built in 2009. It's a great building right in the heart of Calgary, close to the Stampede grounds. So you have incredible statistics for Airbnb.
Yes.
The citywide average for occupancy rates are 70%, which basically means that at 30 days, you're renting for about 20 days of the month or 21 days. Our company has achieved 85 to 90% occupancy, which would put you in the 24 to 26 days of rent per month. So That's pretty good. And this guy here will rent for an average daily rate of around $165.
Wow.
Which will bring in about just over $4,000 a month for our clients. So
it's a beautiful building.
It does look nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do a couple renovations, a couple little things to the interior, get rid of the countertop, do some paint. It doesn't need much. It's got concrete floors.
It's cool.
More industrial look. Here's the first bedroom on the side here.
Now, can you change the color of those concrete floors? Have you ever done that, or?
Yeah, you can change the colors, or you can put vinyl plank on top. So these ones are a bit more browny. It's not people like that a lot, but you can easily change that and then, or just do flooring on top of it. But this is on the 15th floor as well. Again, we're just in the process of furnishing this one for our client. Actually, we should have it live on Airbnb by the end of the month.
Awesome.
And this is the secondary bedroom here. So
what a great building.
Yeah, great building, great area. You're right close to all the amenities again, like all the restaurants. I was hoping I could see that photos there. I don't think they have them on. But yeah, this is what's available. Lots of options like this. Again, for Airbnb friendly options, there's only a few buildings downtown. So please reach out to me because we do have an exclusive list of off-market and on-market listings in these buildings.
I'm in awe of the price.
What's that?
I'm in awe of that price.
Oh my gosh, I know.
You would never get a 2-bedroom condo out here anywhere close to that.
I know.
In a building like that.
And here's one just down the street as well. This one's on the market. And this building, it's not a showstopper from the outside. It's built in 1980. Mm-hmm. It looks a little bit gross as far as the architecture, but and right now they're going through a special assessment. So a special assessment just means it's basically a cash call among the owners to fix some things around the property, maintenance items that they don't have enough money to cover in the reserve fund. Mm-hmm. So this property here just went through a whole sidewalk renovation on the front side. The lobby looks nice though. They did a renovation there. They redid the rooftop patio as well. Mm-hmm. So right now it's been a construction scene for the last 2 years, which is a big turnoff for a lot of people who want to live there.
Yeah.
But this is a big 1-bedroom. It's 700 square feet. It's under $200,000. It is renovated. And this is another property where you could go long-term or short-term with. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you a couple photos because I think it looks fantastic for under $200,000, right?
Yes.
Big patio.
Just the open living space there. You don't feel like you're in a condo.
Mm-hmm. No, and there's a lot of units like this actually available that are not renovated. So they're full of carpet. They have the full wall here. It's like a galley kitchen. So it wouldn't take much for renovations, and we can put you in touch with the right people to do that for you on your property. Little desk nook as well.
Great idea.
That's the floor plan. It's just super simple, and this would be great for a long-term tenant as well. It would probably put you in the $1,600 a month range, $1,650 if you're renting it to a long-term tenant.
Wow.
Airbnb wise, though, you're looking at about double that. So there are definitely some options for you.
Yep. And your company would help manage the Airbnbs, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Our company is called B&B Partners. So we started actually earlier on this year. We, again, continued to send our clients to different partners that we had in the business, but we figured why not take more control of the situation here and allow our clients to have the full option to have a front to back investment solution. So property acquisition, renovations, furnishing, and management all under one roof. So it makes it way simpler from a distance.
Yeah, that is a great concept. So it's called B&B?
B&B Partners, yeah.
Partners, perfect. And so they can just throw that into the Google. They have options there to get in touch with you through there, or is there a better way to get in touch with you directly, Tristan?
Yeah, through my my email here, personal email, cell number, and Instagram, or my personal website as well. There's lots of different ways to get in touch with me, but definitely if you have questions, want to have a quick conversation, give me a call. I'm more than happy to chat with you. All things Calgary, all things Alberta.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tristan, for being on our episode today. We are so excited to be able to expand across Canada. We want to get to the eastern part, go even further west.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate your insights. And again, thank you for being on our show today, and we hope everybody has a great day today.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Have a good day, guys. See ya.